Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 2023 local elections governor debate. I am your cameraman for tonight, President Knuckles. And tonight we will be seeing the challenger, Godson, take on Governor Knuckles for the seat of governor of the state of Virginia. But before we get into that, let me introduce our moderator, the current man named McGuire. May you go ahead. It's all you.
Thank you, Mr. Cameraman. My name is John McGuire, and ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the beautiful city of New Haven for the first annual governor debate between Godson and Governor Knuckles. Before we get started, let's introduce our candidates to the stage. We'll start off with the competitor, Godson. And then we'll now introduce the current governor of the state of Virginia, Governor Knuckles. May he please join us on the stage. Alrighty, gentlemen, thank you for joining us here on stage. Before we start, we're going to go over the rules a little bit before we get into our beautiful questions that we have saved here for tonight. Debate will go as follows. Each of you will both have your opening statements, and you will have 2 minutes each for your opening statements. And each other, the candidates, are prohibited from interrupting each other's statements while in the opening statement. After that, we will head into our questioning period, where the candidates will have 30 seconds to answer their specific question without interruption. Then, after both candidates have accepted both of their questions, we will go into a short debate period of 2 minutes between the candidates. Once we finish all the questions, we'll go into a closing statement of 2 minutes, uninterrupted time of each other's speeches. Gentlemen, do you understand? Very well. Hopefully they're a little bit more talkative today. Gentlemen, we're going to start off with the first question. We're going to take the first question to you, Godson. What are your plans regarding the state of Virginia? You have 30 seconds. Good sir.
My plans for the great state of Virginia are going to be simple. Work for the people, by the people, and with the people. They will be heard and represented to the best of my ability. Thank you.
Alrighty. My apologies. My director has informed me that I have made a quick mistake. Gentlemen, I meant to say your opening statements. Mr. Godson, we'll start with your opening statement. Sir, you have 2 minutes.
That's quite alright. We all make mistakes. Opening statement's going to be simple, and it's going to be straight to the point. I feel like I'd be a great candidate for the governorship. I feel like I'm qualified, I'm willing to work for the people, and I feel like our governor currently has no plan to run the Virginia governor. The state capital isn't even complete under his management, and I feel like it is time to have a new face in Virginia. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Godson. And Mr. Governor Zach Knuckles, you have 2 minutes for your opening statement. Good sir.
Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, at home and abroad. I have been your governor of Virginia for a whole 6 months now, coming up as re-election. Currently, the projects that have been underway were the subway and multiple executive orders of the state to help better the city as a whole. Multiple cities have been doing very good jobs, tremendous jobs, and getting to work. I understand that there has been a large lack of activity, not only within the state, but in the cities as well. My plan is to get a large recruiting spree, as well as adding new people that are active, and allowing them to get more jobs on the server to open up more opportunities. I believe I am a better candidate than my opponent, because one, he lacks the knowledge and experience that I carry. He has never had any position of authority, in this server mainly, where something was expected of him. And that will be all.
Thank you, Mr. Governor Zach Knuckles. Gentlemen, we'll now go into our questioning period. We'll actually start with you again, Mr. Godson, on the same question as before, if you'd like to add on to your previous statement or start over. The question goes as follows. What are your plans regarding the state of Virginia, Mr. Godson? You have 30 seconds.
My plan is simple. Infrastructure and education, and making sure that everything's getting done in a timely manner and not wasting the people's time on something that can be done very quickly. Thank you.
Thank you, good sir. Same question goes to you, Mr. Governor. What are your plans regarding the state of Virginia? You have 30
What I
seconds.
plan to do with the state of Virginia initially is continue the construction of the Capitol. 6 months of time I feel is not enough time to complete each and every single task with my current schedule. In a 2-month period, I will be graduating high school, and will gain a lot of free time to be able to complete these tasks. Another thing that we plan to do in the state is get a lot more of the infrastructure and revamps around not only just the city capital, but
Thank you, Mr.
other
Governor.
cities in the state as well. I want them to look better than what they currently do now.
Thank you, Mr. Governor. Gentlemen, you now will enter a 2-minute debate period between yourselves upon the matter. Your time starts now.
Like I was saying, about recreating the infrastructure and advancing it even further. My plans as governor, I plan to get new designs for all the cities to ensure that they look as most modern as possible. I also plan to continue the construction that was approved by Congress just recently, so that we can get the city capital underway and going. The only thing that has been a problem within this time in the states is that the allocations of Kytopia's funds have somehow disappeared without a trace. I believe it is the person in the server by the name of Dimos, who wants to become the next city's mayor, is doing a project for the federal government to get money back for Kytopia. Because I've already stated that the state is not going to be paying in full for all of the renovations of the capital in Kytopia. I've set in stone a plan that Kytopia pays 75% and the state will pay 25%. Currently, the only thing that is missing now is the funds to be able to get this plan started.
Can I counter that?
So debate.
This is the debate period, sir. Talk when you
Okay.
want.
Projects in here seem like they've been taking forever under your management, under your leadership. State Capitol taking forever. Negotiation, 25%. Why not go lower? You're a politician. Thirdly, you have so many projects going on that none of them are going to get done in a timely manner. Focus on the ones that are important. And I think that it would be more important to focus on what the people's needs are rather than the government's needs. I feel like if the people realize that you're working for them, you could be elected again. With so many projects being made, none of them are even complete. I've been to the state capitol already, and let me tell you, it does not look even done. There's no floor plan, there's nothing done with it. It's just outside of
Well,
a
I'd like
building
to
that looks
counter that
pretty.
argument. There actually is, in fact, a plan already laid out. It's all in the Discord server, as well as all of the builds that we need for the state capitol. It's already been set in stone. Everything, the whole design of the entire capital city, has already been designed. Currently, we've been working on the subway system, numerous people. It is a massive project that has taken a very long time. And before we could even do any other types of construction, like in creative, for the other builds, like for instance the cathedral, or the courthouse, or the necessities that we need, we had to discuss with Congress for a very long period of time to set it in stone. And then once Congress finally approved of this bill, there was no mayor whatsoever to be able to allocate these funds to make this transaction go through. That's why it's taking so long, is because we're getting a new Kytopia mayor in office, hopefully this election season, in the next couple of months, so that we can continue the progress
Thank you,
in
gentlemen.
the capital.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you. We're now heading to our next question, and we'll start with you, Mr. Governor. What will you do to improve the quality of life for the Virginians in the state of Virginia? You have 30 seconds, good sir.
Thank you for the question. What I plan to do for all of the citizens of Virginia is make jobs more possible. Let me specify. As in more possible, I mean more achievable and able to get into, without having to jump through every single hoop to even ensure that the people have a job. I'm going to be creating jobs like the National Guard, funding police forces, as well as an education system, and construction work, plenty of construction work, so that the American people can get set on the right course.
Thank you, Mr. Governor. Same question goes to you, Mr. Gostin. What will you do to improve the quality of life for the Virginians? You have 30 seconds.
The first 30 days are going to be crucial once elected. We're going to make sure that the living costs go down immediately. We make sure that everybody has an affordable wage to live on. We're also going to make sure that education is important for the government, because without education, there's communism, and we don't want communism. That's the one thing that we banned here in the United States, and I don't think not having an education system is a form of communism, and that will not be allowed in the Virginian states. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Godson. Gentlemen, you'll now go into a 2-minute debate period. Your time starts now.
How do you plan on making
I
it
believe
affordable?
with the plan that I have set in stone to create many new jobs for the American people, as well as get construction underway, that this great state can exceed any states a part of the Union. There will also be a State of the State address that I will start editing and working on this week, so I hope that it will be done and published as of next week. That will be addressing these problems that we have and things that will positively impact the next future for whoever may be governor.
My plan is going to be important for the people. It's going to be crucial, time-consuming for the governor and the mayors of the cities that represent us. We're going to ensure that everybody gets what they need, and that they want what they get what they need. It's very important that the people of Virginia get what they need, not what the governor wants, not what the mayors want. It's what the people want. I also think that we need to focus on the shortages that are happening right now in the United States of America. What's the goal to tackle that? Does he have a goal to tackle that? Will he have a goal to tackle those issues? And also, what's more important to me is education. Because without education, no one is going to get anywhere. We've
I like to
seen what
counter
happens.
that. With education and for the financial aspect of education, I believe Congress is already coming up with a program to help lower the educational cost. The state, what I have planned to implement as well is to also help out the educational cost. And for people, they're going to be able to get discounted rates and get helped with paying for their degree.
I'd like to
I already
counter
have that plan set in stone and that's going to be integrated within my next
like-
governor term.
No. Can I counter that before we finish?
I'll let you go. Go ahead.
Thank you. I think all Virginian men, women, whatever it is, they deserve free public education. I think that's the best choice because then they can go in for free, get the education they need, and then go to college. Thank you.
Sounds like something a communist would say.
That's not communist, my friend.
Someone come get Bernie Sanders.
Thank you, gentlemen. We're going to now move into our next question. And we'll start with you, Mr. Godson. How are you going to combat crime on a state level? You got 30 seconds to consider.
Well, here's my question. Do we have a police chief currently in any of the cities? Do we even have a police commissioner or the governor's council? Probably not. So the first thing I would do is have someone get appointed as the police commissioner.
Mr. Governor, this is interrupted time. Thank you.
Thank you. I think it's very important that we and add more to the police fund and get the crime down. Because with more crime, there's more cartels running our streets, and we're not going to allow that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Godson. Mr. Governor, the same question goes to you. How will you combat crime on a state level? You have
First thing I'd like to address is there are no cartels on the streets. Secondly, Mr. Godson, if you were active and here enough, you would understand that there was no police chief, or you wouldn't be questioning it. Secondly, I've already implemented a rule through a state executive order that limits the amount of armor and protection that regular day civilians have. Regular civilians are going to be having just diamond armor, whereas the police force would be entrusted with netherite, giving them the advantage to combat any citizen who fights back or tries to run away.
Thank you, Mr. Governor. Gentlemen, we're now going to go into a debate period. You have 2 minutes starting now.
Mr. Governor.
The people of this state have already witnessed here today, Mr. Godson has a lack of educating himself to matters that are at home in this state. Clearly, it already shows who the better candidate is.
That's not true, Mr. Governor. Let me tell you, you're willing to militarize the police to a point of civilians cannot fight for themselves if they need to. Militarizing the police is also a political gain for you. I don't like having the police militarized because then that shows that you have too much political gain to lose if you're not the governor anymore. Also, I do have a lot of experience with stuff like this because, number one, I am a debating person. Number two, I think that we need to have a new governor in office to not allow the police become militarized. And disbanding our citizens is not the right move.
First off, like what you just said about you having all this experience, that's not relevant to the topic at hand. Okay. I did not make the police be stronger than everyday civilians. Okay. There's two different things that are separating the police from actual militaristic forces. There's actually going to be a National Guard that I plan to institute into the state, and then there's going to be police forces separate. And what I found, and everyone else as a person of this server for many years, is that people that have too strong of armor compared to police, the police are not able to compete with anything. So there could be someone that is completely doing stuff that's illegal, like placing TNT or bombing people. I believe that this rule that I implemented significantly impacts the future generations of the people of the state in very positive ways, because the police will actually be able to do their job. It ensures that they can do their job like they need to.
I disagree with that. I feel like you're putting the lives of your citizens at risk every day.
Maybe in the aspect if there was a corrupt cop, but like you've already stated, from your lack of knowledge, there is no police chief nor a police force currently. And also
Because
to
you
add on
haven't
to it,
appointed one.
and also to add on to that, the state already has put in a budget for multiple new police buildings and or needs, and that fund was a fund of 200,000 or 300,000, I believe, in the current last year alone.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you. We're going to now head on to our next question. And we're going to start with you, Mr. Governor. Why do you think your opponent is not right for the job? You have 30 seconds, good sir.
I believe my opponent is not right for this position nor opportunity, because he's lacking what the American people need. They need someone who is stern and listens to them, and also listens to their needs. Not only does he have his lack of education, not only in this server, but as a political party, he also is just not fit for the office in which he believes he is about to enter. And I close my remarks.
Thank you, Mr. Governor. Same question goes to you, Mr. Godson. Why do you think your opponent is not right for the job? You have 30 seconds.
Well, to be honest, I don't work for the American people. I'm going to work for the Virginian people. Big difference. Two, I don't have... You've been the governor, so of course you're going to have more knowledge than me. But you've had 6 months to do more, and you haven't done anything, and you're making high school, you know, most important thing, which I get. Education's important to you. But if you're going to be a governor, you need to be active, and you need to be working for your people. Also, another thing is, I don't lack the knowledge. That's just not true. And if I were to be governor, I think you would not be welcomed in my state. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Godson. Gentlemen, we'll now head into a 2-minute debate period upon the question. You have 2 minutes starting now.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. May I also ask for an extension of time for it to be 3 minutes?
We'll see. Just go ahead and get right into it.
Well, like Mr. Godson stated, and why I believe he's not fit for governor, is clearly he cannot take expressions nor tones of voice properly and or accordingly. He cannot work as the governor if he does not know how to proceed with hearings. Due to the fact that the statement that he made, I would not be welcome in the state, more or less, after the remarks that I made. As that tells, he's letting his emotion win over him over actual justice. Thing is, Mr. Godson does not rule with an iron fist, and he does not have any respect nor morals.
Because I'd rule for the Virginian people. Because I'd rule for the Virginian people.
Have amazing talent.
They're
great people.
And they're unutilized. They're unutilized under you.
Why would... Be more specific when you say utilized. What do you mean by that?
I've been through almost every city in this map, and let me tell you, you are the unmost constructionized, organized. It's a disaster under your administration. It is a complete disaster. You don't have anything.
Can you be more specific under my... Yeah, just be a little bit more specific, because Last time I checked, I'm here to help out the cities. I'm not here to
Well,
build them
clearly you
and
haven't
create
helped.
all of them.
Clearly you haven't helped them. Just look around.
Yes, and I've seen.
You have barely any housing. You have sidewalks that aren't even complete. It's a complete
that's from a
joke
lack
under
of
your
mayorship.
administration.
That's a lack of mayorship.
No, you don't even have a mayor for some of them. You have to pitch in. You're the authority figure. You're higher than the mayor. You can tell the mayor, hey, do this, or you're not going to get grants from the state anymore. You have to step your foot in.
And that's already been established numerous times. That's
Well,
why there's
clearly it
numerous
hasn't.
laws and rules in effect.
Well, clearly it hasn't been.
Just to tie back to what Godson was saying. Okay. Godson is not the person that the people of Virginia need. His lack of activity, he has been more inactive and just bobbling around the server compared to the actual time that I've already spent in here. As you guys, the people of Virginia, can see, like I've said numerous times, is he lacks the knowledge of the people. He claims that he's for the people, but he does not know of what any of the people need nor want.
So then what have you been doing for him, besides making a capital with barely any housing? You have barely any housing, no infrastructure.
I've created
barely.
new jobs for the American people.
Where?
Where? The subway system.
It's not even complete,
buildings.
so there's no jobs. There's barely anything being completed in that.
Yeah, it's also the city's job to create jobs as well. It's not only just the state. You're looking at it from a one-point perspective to the people of the state.
Because you're not the mayor, you're the governor, my friend.
Not one person can do everything. It's a team effort. Everyone has to pitch in.
Maybe because they don't want to work for your administration.
No one ever said anything about my administration.
Because there's a lack of authority.
I guarantee that if I asked someone to be a part of my administration, they would want to do it.
No way. No way.
Godson, you're just arguing invalid claims that are not here to talk about or help the people of Virginia.
Thank you.
Again, have you looked at your have you looked at your state? There's no there's no infrastructure.
Like I've said before previously stated, my time gets occupied by my educational studies.
Gentlemen, thank you.
Then maybe you should resign.
I work a long job as well.
Gentlemen, thank you.
So do I.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you. We'll now take a quick, brief word from our sponsors, sponsoring tonight's event, KTI and Instinctive Enterprises. Shop and buy at KTI and Instinctive, where your ideas can become a reality. Gentlemen, we'll now hop into our next question for this beautiful evening. And we're going to start with you, Mr. Godson. How do you plan to increase the state's wealth and the people's wealth as a whole? You have 30 seconds.
Well, what we're going to do is we're going to make more houses, unlike the administration right beside me. We're going to make sure that we have more jobs and that we have more people building houses and businesses, and that we allow businesses to come into our state. With no businesses, no small businesses, in fact, there is no state and there is no country. And without a country, there is none of us here. We need small businesses here. Or nothing. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Godson. And same question goes to you, Mr. Governor. How do you plan to increase the state's wealth and the people's wealth as a whole? You have 30 seconds.
That is a great question, Mr. Moderator. What I plan to do to help increase the state's wealth as a whole. Not only from last year the taxes were high, I plan to lower taxes. I also plan to give tax breaks to local businesses and people in need to better ensure that the people are taken care of and looked after.
Thank you, Mr. Governor. Gentlemen, you now enter a 2-minute debate period upon the matter. Your time starts now.
So, you're talking about tax breaks. My question is to you, since you're a politician, you're a governor, how many percentage offs are you going to take off? Is it 2% since you have high taxes and you need the money? Or are you going to be fair and give 5% off taxes? The right thing to do is to lower taxes, make sure that tax breaks are available for your citizens, regardless of their class. I also think that it's fair to say that I don't see you cutting taxes if your taxes are already high. I don't see that happening. But that's just me.
Well, the taxes have already been cut for this next year going forward.
How much?
Also, like I said, the small businesses and new people starting can get tax breaks.
How
Newly
much?
started businesses.
How much?
How much? That can be discussed. There's not a set in stone price, like I've said. That one is still uncertain. It's a little bit of a wishy-washy area, if you may call it, but it could happen. Not only that, to help better the lives of the future Americans, with these new jobs that are going to be presented by the state, it will help get more money in the state of Virginia's people's pocket.
Let me ask you this, Governor. What would you do if a multi-million-dollar business came into your state and they did not want to pay the state tax? Would you allow that?
No. Someone's already tried to do that before. They still ended
That's
up
good.
paying taxes either way.
That's good. I'm glad you have a backbone. Now, unlike him, I probably would have had a set stone price of tax cuts. Because you need to know who's coming into your business. You need to know if they're small business, big business, multi-million-dollar business. There's all those sentiments that need to be in place. And budgets for those
So,
tax breaks need to be
The
put
current
in.
problem we run into, Godson, each and every year, is that the federal bank transcripts for the people that live in Virginia are never submitted to the state. So all the money that people make through the federal government that live in the state, those transcripts are not sent over to the state so those people can be taxed accordingly, even though they still live in the cities.
Are you enforcing it?
It makes it very hard to be able to get the proper and adequate amount of taxes. It's always a hustle, or a little like a hassle each year. And
Yeah.
it's not because I'm not enforcing it. It's because the current president does not want to give up those documentation. I've been fighting with Congress a long time to try and pass a bill so that we can get documentation of both of those records so that we can properly tax people accordingly. But it's a very hard task to do. It's very hard to get past.
So you're blaming the president on a faulty administration on your hand.
No.
That's basically what you just said.
No, I said with taxes.
Thank you,
It's
gentlemen.
hard to get accurate accounts of taxes because the documents do not want to come over.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you. Gentlemen, we're now going to go to the final question for tonight's lovely debate. And this question was actually brought to my desk by the people. Following the disease and the countless bombings that have happened to this beautiful state, what are your plans to fix and repair the city of its potholes and its destruction of its buildings? Mr. Governor, we'll start with you.
Like I already have planned to implement relief funds for the cities that are affected. I plan once the money comes in from the federal government that was promised, the $600,000, plan to give the cities that were affected $200,000 in repairs and damage relief. I yield my time.
Thank you, Mr. Governor. Same question goes to you, Mr. Godson. Following the countless attacks that have been happening to this fair state, and of course the former disease of psychosis, what are your plans to fix the destroyed buildings and of course the potholes that occur in some of the streets? You have 30 seconds.
Well, I agree with the governor on this one. For once, I actually agree with him that if they get the money from the federal government, that the cities would get the money to repair the stuff that's decayed or broke, and potholes that need to get repaired that were never fixed or even finished. I also think that it's time that we end and finish projects that need to be finished before we move on to other ones, so that there is no decay of the buildings. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. You'll now enter a 2-minute debate period upon the matter. Time starts now.
With the funds that were going to be allocated to the cities for relief, I believe it is essential for the cities to get back on track. As many of you may not know, I was also on the front lines fighting the disease, as well as old Kaitopia Mayor Dimos, which he also may be the next mayor because he's running in the election. I was on the front lines fighting the disease. I know what it's capable of. I've seen what it does. It'll completely decimate a home within a matter of like hours, minutes, days. It just all depends. It's really fast spreading disease. Like this whole entire area where we're standing currently was completely destroyed by the disease for the longest time. Which I do thank our sponsors, KTI and Instinctive Enterprises, for fixing it up for the cities.
I have nothing to debate on this topic.
Now for you, the people of Virginia, I believe it is essential that each and every one of you guys cast your vote in this election. I believe whether it's me or Godson, whoever becomes mayor, or not mayor, governor, my bad.
So now we're running for mayor?
I believe that it is essential that great things will happen. Within this next few months, I will be graduating from school, allowing me to get more open availability, to be able to be there and keep doing projects for the people of Virginia. So that's all I have to say.
I would also like to thank the people of Virginia for coming out tonight, watching, or abroad. To thank you for tuning in, and I hope that you choose the right people and you choose the right administration going forward. God bless the Virginian people.
Thank you, gentlemen. We're going to now enter our closing statements for tonight's event. Each of you will have 2 minutes of uninterrupted time. Say what you want to say, and you get whatever you want to say out there. Mr. Governor, we'll start with you. You have 2 minutes.
Thank you. People of Virginia, this year debate has struck me at a very uncommon time. With 1 day notice, I did not have as much time to prepare for this debate, nor have an opening nor closing statement. But I want to assure you and promise you this. Great things will happen if I get elected back into office. Currently, the subway system for Kaitopia's capital is still under construction. Me and the next Mayor Dimos, who's going to be Mayor of Kaitopia, because I endorse him, are going to do great things for the city. Plan to build numerous things, like a cathedral, place for you guys to worship, whoever you may please, go in there at any time. We also plan to get new jobs, like a police station, state-level courts, and we also plan to create a fire department in case your house, accidentally catches on fire, or there's an outbreak of some random disease again. I believe it is essential that each and every person on part of Virginia votes. It is crucial. And with that, I plead my time.
Thank you, Mr. Governor. And Mr. Godson, your closing statement, you have 2 minutes, good sir.
Well, I think it's time that we do indeed have a police department, fire department. I'm surprised you guys don't even have any of that. Also, I would like to also make the central control of disease. I think that would be something new for the state to work with. I would also like to publicly announce my endorsement for the Vice President for Presidentship of the United States of America for my forever first endorsement. I think he'd be a great qualified candidate. Now, besides that, the Virginian people deserve someone who's going to be loyal to them and not backstab them with projects and waste of time and money. And we also need a school system in place for that our children and the generations to come get the education they need. And we will ensure that they get good education. Thank you.
Well, thank you, gentlemen, for your glorious time. Ladies and gentlemen, we thank you for attending on this night, this beautiful evening here in New Haven. My name is John McGuire, and if you're watching out there from the, make sure to leave us a follow and a like, and we'll hopefully catch you at the next debate, or of course our next event here at American Gaming Group. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and have a wonderful night.